With the new Toyota all-electric family, you get to choose between the versatile BZ, the adventurous BZ Woodland, or the sporty CHR. If only choosing music was this easy. Toyota's new all-electric family. There's nothing left to think about.
One day, you'll tell the story of the summer that changed everything. A different city, a new perspective, maybe even a different you. Odds are, it'll start with that flight you decided to take. This summer, Delta Airlines is flying its largest European network ever, with nearly 30 destinations, including Nice and Sardinia. Your next chapter could start with one flight. Book your own European journey with Delta at delta.com.
Home, home, just wanna go, home, home, back home. I've been gone for way too long. Home.
Welcome to Make Space, a home design show that empowers you to create spaces you're obsessed with. Tune in for conversations that dive deeper than pin-worthy rooms. Host Cara Newhart teases out the essentials of designing spaces that inspire happiness and serve your everyday life. Cara has been featured in House Beautiful, Apartment Therapy, NBC News, and Insider, and has collaborated with brands like Home Depot, Wayfair, World Market, and more. Here's your host, Cara Newhart.
Hey, it's Cara, and I'm on a mission to help you find your style, learn to tackle home design without intimidation, and unlock the confidence to transform your home. On the show today, I'm sitting down with my friend Zandra, who is the host of the Style Matters podcast, and we're going to talk all about uncovering your design style. Zandra has a really fun approach to this. She helps people through her podcast, retreats, and courses, but her approach is all about slow style. Building your style over time, swapping things in, trying things out. And I really love this approach because I feel like it takes the pressure off feeling like you have to have your space finished right now. It lets you experiment, do things over time, and slowly uncover your style along the way. So I'm really pumped for this conversation. So let's dive in. Okay, so today on the show, we are diving into developing a signature style. I have probably the queen of developing your style here with me, fellow podcaster Zandra. Her show is so beautiful. I think our shows have such beautiful synergy because she really helps you dive deep and find your style and really kind of make that lifelong commitment to uncovering your personal style. And then my show kind of aligns, focusing on those specific design strategies to implement and help you become your own designer. So I'm so excited for this pod swap. Welcome, Zandra.
Oh, hi, Cara. That was such a great way to put it. I totally agree. That's our synergy. I'm excited about this conversation.
Absolutely. So as we dive into, talking about how to find your own style that really feels like a fit for your space, can you share a little bit about what that process has been like for you? Have you always had like a clear sense of style, or was it something you kind of had to hone over time?
Sure. So yes, I have definitely honed it over time, and I'm very self-taught as you are. It started the way it does with almost everyone I talk to, which was I bought my first home and it's like, I don't live in an apartment anymore. I don't have any roommates anymore. And now all of a sudden I have this home, and I think we have this innate need to put our stamp on things and to see ourselves reflected in our environments. It's empowering. It makes us feel like we're being seen. And it makes us feel like we're growing up a little bit too, right? Like, oh, this is mine. This is my space. And it doesn't matter if you're renting or not at all, I don't think, but it does seem to start a lot with that first place that you get that feels like your own. So that's how it started for me. And I lived in apartments in New York and Chicago for years and had always kind of tried to do things to them. But then I moved to this smallish town in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and all of a sudden had this, what to me was a huge house. It was only, I think, 1,600 square feet. But to me, after living in studio apartments, it was humongous. And so I just fell in love with this idea of being creative and, like I said, putting my stamp on something. And what I started with was just copying I just copied what I saw other people doing. And
Yeah.
I don't, I really want people to get beyond copying so they can find their own style, but it's a great place to start, because if you're copying and you're really paying attention to the details of what the pros are doing, you learn so much. So my first home, well, I was sort of in the country in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I got on this whole country kick. So my whole house was like copying Country Living magazine, and it was like to the T. And then I slowly started expanding. We're in our third home now. So, over the years, I have developed my own style, but that's where the journey started.
I love that so much. And I love that you mentioned copying being the first part, because I really feel like that's kind of how we learn. I mean, everything. When you're doing handwriting, you're tracing letters. When you're in
Right.
art school, you're drawing that grid on the photo and drawing it grid like piece by piece.
Yeah.
So really copying is how you learn to kind of look for those details. And that's where
Yes.
if you have a framework, you can tweak things and then eventually it becomes all your own. So that's such a beautiful, beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I think so. It does get a bad rap sometimes, but it's a good place to start. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're crediting and like acknowledging that this is copying and you're
Totally.
learning,
Right.
I think that's an
Absolutely.
important part of the process for sure as well. But, so style, you've kind of developed yours over time. And I know that you have a full course on how to, really mix your style and find your personal style. But can you give us kind of like a high level overview of maybe like the step-by-step process you should go through to truly define your style?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. I do have a course called Master the Mix, where we work on one room and just putting, kind of doing a more of a quick turnover, like a 4-week turnover to really flip it, basically. But my approach, which I call slow style, is really played out in my online membership called the Slow Style Society. And I'll just tell you those 5 steps that I believe I've taken to develop my own style that I go back to over and over and over again. And that's kind of what I go through in the membership, which is, first of all, the first thing you really need to do is assess where you're at, both with your own home, what you have. That includes looking at your mess, looking at your clutter, looking at everything you're surrounded with that you hate, and getting rid of it without guilt. But it also is about assessing kind of where you are in your life emotionally, what's going on in your life, your lifestyle, whether or not you have kids, whether or not you have a partner, whether or not you have any extra space in the backyard, all those kinds of things about where you're at in your life. And then certainly emotionally, like, what do you need at the moment? Do you need to feel confident? Do you need to feel sexy? Do you need to feel sheltered and cared for? Those kinds of things. That's the goal here, is to get your house helping you achieve those feelings of what you need internally. Yeah. And then the second step is what I call soul work. And that's where we really dig into it and try to start understanding how to connect design elements to those internal feelings you want to have, which is very abstract thinking. And this is a tough one for a lot of people, because if you're not the type of person who thinks abstractly naturally, it's really hard to get over that hump of being very literal about matching the shape of a chair leg to how you want to feel. Like it's not intuitive necessarily, right? But there are ways to really uncover that. And I always say there are no rules. I'm not going to tell you what paint color equals what feeling. It can be different for all of us. Right. So therefore, I'm not, there's no fear about getting something wrong. The idea here is to just figure out for you what feelings does a paint color evoke, or wood versus metal. Yes. Or, a shag carpet versus a Killam rug, And then the third step, let's see if I can get this right. The third step is to find and interpret inspiration. So I'm a huge fan of going outside of our interiors to find inspiration. I mean, I love design magazines and I love design shows, and I like to get inspiration from the pros, but I also feel like the best way to find a color palette, honestly, is looking at a gorgeous picture of a bird that has fabulous pattern on its wings and different colors from its beak to its head to its body to its feet. Or I like to get inspiration from places that you wouldn't necessarily assume you'd get inspiration from. It could be a restaurant or a hotel that you're getting a little idea. A bookstore, certainly boutiques. There's another great place to find outside inspiration. And nature, like I was saying with the birds, nature, of course, is the best place, I think, to get inspiration. So that's about how to look outside yourself after you've done all this internal work in stage 2. Now we're going to do some external work in stage 3, looking outside ourselves. And then stage 4 is really where someone like you would come in, which is learn skills and gain knowledge. Yeah. So skills tend to be DIY skills, right? Learning how to build something yourself, how to realize your vision. You know, you can picture what you want to look like. You can't find it in the store. That's when you pick up fabric, wood, nails, screws, and make it yourself. But that stage is also about other kinds of knowledge gaining, things like the history of how things are made. You know, how is linen made? How is a Turkish rug made? What does it take to clean a copper pot that you find at a thrift store? That kind of stuff. And then the final stage is the best stage. It is celebrate your home. And it's about really embracing what you've got, either inviting friends over and throwing a party, or just setting up daily rituals for yourself where you're sitting with a cup of tea and you're sitting in your favorite chair and you're just kind of looking around you at what you've done and who you are and celebrating it. So that's my slow style approach. That's my slow style kind of stages.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And you can just tell there's so much knowledge you've drawn on through talking to all these amazing guests on your show and just kind of going through that process yourself. I really love like the intentionality and the thoughtfulness behind that. I think it's so practical, but so important. What I really loved is kind of talking about like paint colors and expressing your mood and how different style elements truly are tools of expression. And that doesn't look the same for everyone, but if you learn the process, you can learn to choose your own tools. And that's how you build your style. That is so, so beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, it excites me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can tell you have so much passion for sure. I believe that, you know, style should obviously reflect the season of life we're in. And so as that is obviously going to change drastically over time as we grow as people, our style needs to change. You know, it used to be you decorated a room, you left it for 10 years until it became outdated, and then you went back in and redid it. And I think now with things moving so much quicker, we don't have to do that anymore. We can kind of have our spaces evolving as we evolved. So do you have tips for kind of like perfecting this strategy over like a lifetime as you grow personally and as you kind of evolve your home to fit you?
Yes, I love that word evolve. Absolutely. There are 3 basic principles I always come back to, and style evolves is for sure one of them, because I think it takes the pressure off of having to get it perfect and right the first time, with this idea that you're never going to have to do it again because you got it right. Whereas that's like saying, oh, I never have to, you know, learn another new thing because I'm a grown-up now. or I'm never going to change because I've hit my 30th birthday or whatever. I mean, life evolves. So therefore style evolves. Yes, absolutely.
I love that so much. So you talked about that you kind of have 3 guiding principles for your slow style. Can we kind of break those down? I think they're really good for guiding this process.
Sure, absolutely. So these 3, let's call them principles. I think maybe that's how I refer to them. They're kind of what I first came up with when I was trying to explain to myself how I go about creating an aesthetic. And the first one is that life informs style. Life has to inform style. And that's all about what we've already been saying, which is where you are in your life, your particular stage in life, your lifestyle has to inform how you're going to decorate. It's kind of like the form follows function kind of thing that designers, architects talk about all the time, right? That it's got to work for you. If you are a person who is never going to put their laundry away, then let's not focus so much on building these gorgeous drawers and shelves that are built in. Let's focus on a way to deal with the fact that you need a really fun place to just throw your sweaters every day that looks good as opposed to looking like a mess, right? It's got to work for who you are. And the tricky part, though, is when you start living with other people, because you may have a different way of living than they do, a different, level of comfort with clutter, for example, or dirt. And if you add dogs to the mix, or cats or animals that are, you got to be realistic about what's going on in your life and make your systems work for you. Because if you try to fit yourself into a system, it's like New Year's resolutions. They rarely last.
Absolutely.
The second basic principle is that style is active. And what I mean by that, and again, I think this is where you and I really connect. You learn by doing. You figure out who you are, what you're good at, what you like, what your eye is attracted to by trying. By playing around with making a vignette without buying anything new, just play with what you have, move your furniture around, try out different colors on your couch by grabbing different colored blankets and seeing which one works for you. You've got to be willing to play around and make mistakes in order to develop your style. Otherwise, it's all just in your head, and it's going to be product driven by whatever the trends are. And that's just going to lead to you getting very bored with what you have, spending money you don't want to spend, and not feeling very satisfying, right? And in your case, I'm sure it's about how else do you learn how to make anything except through trial and error. The third principle, as we've just been saying, is style evolves.
Yeah, I love all three of those. I think they are such a good core for people that really are looking to define their style. And I really like what you said about things not being product driven. I think when we're looking for our style, we're looking at inspo. And a lot of times that inspo is brand driven or brand images that they've styled these products in. And so it can be so easy to think, if I get those products, I'll have the space I want. And really diving deeper than that is how you get really good spaces, like spaces that genuinely serve you, genuinely express, who you are. And so I love those guidelines because I think they're kind of the first steps to diving deeper.
Good. Yes.
And then, and another piece that I think is really interesting, obviously this year with the year that we've had, is diving more into wellness and style.
Yes.
And, I'm mostly self-trained, but I did do like a design certification program, which was like the stuffy, like designer learning, which is good, learning about the different eras. And styles.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. But it was interesting because diving into that more academic version of style, kind of a theme I saw was like the way our society has viewed style over time has evolved immensely. I think interior design started like as, royalty and the king, and he was dictating trends and people wanted to copy them, and the trends trickle down to people. And now I feel like we're moving so much into this more personal sense of style where homes really are more about the people that are in them than they are about how they look. And it's way less about aesthetics. It's way less about entertaining people, having a formal lifestyle. It's more about living everyday life in a way that's comfortable and supports your well-being. So I just wanted to hear like your perspective on, what kind of has changed for us in terms of being at home all year, in terms of wellness, and what it can teach us about our style.
Right. It's interesting, right? I mean, home has become so central for everyone now, and everyone is looking around and working from home and getting no time away from their partners or their children, right? And looking at their walls going, God, these walls are empty, or, oh, this is so ugly. Or now I now just spend all day in this one little room that I've turned into my home office and nothing's comfortable. And so home is definitely getting attention in a way that it hasn't for a very long time. which I think is good. But I think the well-being piece is what's exciting to me, like you just mentioned. I think that connection between our mental health and even our physical health, like I talk a lot about setting up your kitchen so that it supports your health goals.
Yes.
And making sure that you do everything you can visually and organizationally to make your kitchen a place you want to be and cook and experiment. And whether that's with the simplest of foods because you don't really enjoy cooking, or whether it's you've found this new passion for cooking and so now you're really into it, but setting up your environment to help you achieve whatever your goals are, whether they be health goals like in the kitchen or a place to do your yoga in a light-filled area of your bedroom, or it could be your mental health and taking those breaks that you need, and getting a diffuser so that you have some lovely essential oils that are being diffused into the air. Plants are huge in terms of not just helping us with the air we breathe, but caring for a living being like that and watching it grow is so satisfying. Little things like that, I think, just really do good for the soul. And I think our homes are the place that we have to make that happen. I mean, if you think about it, where else can you make that happen? You don't have a lot of options really at work necessarily to be in control of something like that. You didn't have control over your environment when you were a kid growing up, or let's say if you lived in the dorms when you were in college, your home is really, it's a huge opportunity. And I think rather than thinking of it as sort of a dumping ground, a place where you throw on the TV and you open a bag of Doritos and start to eat, as much as I would like to be doing that.
Right.
After a while, you're going to get depressed.
Yeah.
So let's use our homes to their full advantage, I think.
I love that so much.
We'll get back to the conversation after a quick word from our sponsor.
Okay, time for something super exciting. So I talk to clients every day who really struggle to pick out colors for their spaces. They feel overwhelmed, like they're standing at the color wall having no idea where to even start. They find themselves Googling best colors for the dining room, being overwhelmed by choices and underwhelmed by the one that they pick. So I want to change the game in a really easy and approachable way. So I'm launching a mini course called Color Curator. This is going to help you create a personalized, perfect palette for your space. This course has all kinds of practical strategies, and it is going to change the way you think about color. You deserve to feel confident in creating beautiful spaces filled with color that light you up and support your everyday life. And I'm here to show you that it doesn't take a design degree, in-depth color theory, or hiring an interior designer to achieve that. If this sounds super exciting and it sounds exactly like something you need in your space, just hop over to DIYDreamHome.club/color. You can get all the information, you can get in on this. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so pumped to have made this course for you, and I know it is going to change spaces and transform lives, and I seriously cannot wait to see how it can help you in your space.
And now, back to the interview.
That's kind of a theme I've found emerging for me over the past year is really, I guess looking at your home as, first of all, one of the last places you have to really play and be creative. I always say, it's strange that as kids, it's like color, 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 paint, paint, paint. And then at some point they take your crayons away and now you're just supposed to like read documents in black and white, depending on the career you pick. So our home is really the last frontier of like, where you have to express yourself and play and do that without judgment and in a way that
I love that.
Supports personal growth. Yeah, it's so
well put. Yes.
Yeah. But I love what you said about kind of setting your space up intentionally to support your goals, whether that's wellness or mental health. I think that's the nuanced, better put version of saying, your space should function well. I think that's like the way to really dive into, okay, what does that mean for me? And how can I set this house up where it serves me? And function is just such a general term because it seems in, academic design or stuffy design, there's this idea of like function versus aesthetics. Like it's a war to the death, who will win? But it's like, it's it's not about that. It's about you and your
Yeah.
life and what you want. And I really love your approach. I think it's phrased so well to say that you got to support yourself by setting up your space to achieve those goals.
Oh, thank you. Well, you really kind of started us on this track today by talking about putting the person first, putting the people who live inside the home as the central character as opposed to what the home looks like,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's beautiful. I think we both have a deep passion for that, helping people uncover that within themselves. But in
Yes,
terms of
for sure.
wellness, do you have any kind of strategies that have come out of 2020 in terms of what you've been helping people with, or something that's emerged for you for kind of a new perspective on kind of your classic approach that you've developed?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because and I'm sure everyone's going to be able to relate. We've gone through some ups and downs in terms of our energy. I think as a culture, we've really embraced this stay at home order for a while, and we started baking bread, and we started, enjoying time with our kids, and stuff that we never did have time for before, and so we're all on this little bit of a high, like, oh, I'm learning how to play the guitar or whatever.
Right.
And since then, slowly but surely, we are getting fatigued, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. The vaccines are coming. We're going to be able to socialize again, but it's still far enough away that I think people are getting really down about it, myself included. So what I've been talking about a lot recently with people who listen to the show, or people who I communicate with by email, is this sense of boredom and feeling of, I guess we're just getting really tired of the monotony of the day in, the day out, the same, the same, the same. And so what to do about that? I by no means am good at this, but I have been really trying to push myself and really help other people get back to some of that energy we had in the beginning, where you were trying new things. And maybe this time it's not so grand. Maybe this time you're not going to learn how to speak Italian from scratch,
Right.
but maybe you're simply going to switch up your routine a little bit. You're going to sit in a different part of your home when you're working on your office stuff. You are going to drive somewhere to take a walk, as opposed to walking the same streets of your neighborhoods all the time. And maybe you are going to try a couple of new DIY projects that are within reach. Making a pillow, an envelope pillow, is one of the easiest DIY projects you can make if you just have a couple of skills on a sewing machine.
Right.
Or pulling out the power tools and trying to just build a shelf, like something that's not huge, or just painting a wall or a corner. I think just giving yourself a project, something to focus on, something that is going to make you happy because of the paint color you chose, or just the feeling of accomplishment. Any of those small things we can do, I think, is what we need right now to get us through these next few months, where we're hopefully at the end.
Yeah. I
I don't know
like
if that's
that.
that helpful. I mean, I
No,
think
I
I'm
think it
just
really
as
is.
desperate as everyone else
Right.
to move on.
But it's that it was overwhelming at first, and I think it's one of the most interesting things to me is seeing how adaptable we truly are as humans.
Yeah.
For those of us that weren't essential and really were at home this whole time, the way we've adapted and found connection amidst isolation, and found new ways to live our lives and new ways to
Yeah.
find happiness. It's
It's
really beautiful,
we
but
have to look
obviously
at
we
that
don't want to
too.
be here forever. So
Right.
I think that's good advice for like those small wins and those small things you can experiment with and try out. So as we transition back to, post pandemic, whatever that looks like, hopefully, very close to what it used to be is what I'm hoping
Right.
for. But we take a
Right.
piece of what we've learned with us in a small way. So I think that's more impactful than you realize. I feel like I'm scrambling too, but I definitely see that being advice that will help push us forward after all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think that we just have to try. We just have to keep trying. And Another really small thing that I think makes a huge difference is treating yourself to fresh flowers once a week.
Yes.
Um, Boy, I don't know. They really lift my spirits. And just the taking them out of the cellophane, cutting off the ends of each stem, arranging them. I don't know. It just, that little thing, because I think it feels like a treat. And I think it's something we tend to do when we know we've got people coming over. And right now we don't have people coming over. And so it's a way to say to yourself, I matter too. My environment
Yes.
matters too. And just because I'm not entertaining doesn't mean that I shouldn't have a beautiful home or have something beautiful to look at.
Absolutely. I just did an episode with a luxury designer that works with clients in Hollywood and,
Okay.
ask her what she thought, how would a regular person involve luxury in their space?
Yeah.
And that was truly her answer, is to find the little moments of luxury that make you feel happy and worthy.
Oh,
And so whether
yes.
that's flowers or a coffee mug was her example, but those little things, if you find whatever's right for you that really gets
Yeah.
that feeling for you, then
Yes.
it's a game changer for real. It really is. So I
It
love that so
is. It
much.
is. And you get a little you get that little bubble of giggle inside of you, like, oh, I just treated myself, Yeah.
I'm going to steal the question that you usually ask your guests on your show
Oh,
and
uh-oh.
ask, why does style matter to you?
Okay, this is the first time anyone has asked me this question, which is hilarious because you're
Right?
right.
You've heard the
It's
answer so many
so
times.
many times. Okay. And unlike my guests, I have not prepared an answer for
I'm sorry.
this.
I knew this would be a curveball, but it's kind of fun.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Why does style matter? I believe everyone deserves beauty. And I think that beauty has become something that we think of superficially.
Mm,
And there are a lot of superficial ways to create or access beauty that have to do with kind of putting a mask on or covering things up and sugarcoating things.
yeah.
But true beauty is something that, it's okay, it's not the same as food and shelter and water.
Mm,
Three
mhm.
basics, but it's up there. And I think
Right.
that's why people have been making art all the way back thousands and thousands of years that you find on these cave paintings because people have needed it, they've craved it, and we need to remember that we are worthy of it, we deserve it, and that it's not extra. It's not something that you only get when you have enough money for it or you've got the time for it or you know the right people, or you have the right home or the right experience. It is something that I think we deserve every day. And our style is a way to express what we think is beautiful for others to see. Our style
Mm,
is the way that we share who we are, talk a little bit about where we've been, and also starts to shine a light on who we want to become.
yeah.
So that's why it matters.
Oh, I love that answer so much. It almost just gave me chills.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I was able to actually put it into
Yeah,
words.
you really did and very, very well put.
Oh,
I
thank you.
think what emerged for me is that beauty is a language. Like beauty is literally how we express stuff that can't be expressed in words, and that's why there's so many
Mm,
dimensions to it, like the
mm.
aesthetic side, the visual side, the, listening to music, writing. Like beauty is found so many places because it's getting at something deeper.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to take for face value and reduce to, an inspo photo or a
Yeah,
song, or
exactly.
because that's the easiest way for us to process it. But really diving deeper into it, you see that it's so much more. And so
Yeah.
I love that. It's such a
Yeah.
good way to put it because it's challenging, I think, for some people just getting into this space of like, why should my home be beautiful? They
Right.
kind of
You
feel
feel
like they're,
guilty or
yeah,
you feel so superficial. Yeah.
yeah, or in the place of competition where it's like you're looking at inspo and you feel like it's so out of
Oh,
reach, and so you kind of feel like you don't, you can't get there.
exactly. That's a horrible feeling. Yes.
Yeah,
And
it
totally
is.
unnecessary. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to break everyone out of that like Pinterest
Yeah.
jail of being glued to like inspo photos and not being able to like really have that for yourself, the right
Right.
way.
Right.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that so much. But I think finding your style obviously comes with a lot of mistakes, a lot of mess ups. We talked about that
Uh-huh.
experimentation, how it's so important and such a integral part of the process. But what are some of the mistakes you see everyday women making when it comes to getting clear on their style? And do you have any tips for how to avoid them?
So I think the thing that people struggle with the most is the fear of not knowing if things quote unquote go together, or how to mix them together. And then there is the tendency to make sure things then go together, to go out and buy all new stuff all at once so that everything matches. So it's the same color blue in every single pillow, and the trim on the curtain, and the, the little bit of blue that might be in the wallpaper, like it all matches, or the dishes all match, or it's a furniture set as opposed to bringing in pieces that you've kind of collected over time.
Right.
Now, there are my mother, for example, is one person who absolutely loves things to match. Like, she is obsessed with it. And the thing is that gives her happiness. And so I do not try to change her mind on that. Right. But people who come to me are more interested in, they don't really want it to match. They just don't know how else to do it. They don't know how to make that mix work together. Right. And so the mistake, although I think that's kind of a harsh word, but the mistake that they make is falling back on the matching thing, and either being so worried it's not going to match that they get paralyzed and don't do anything. Or, like I said, they do go out and just buy all new stuff and have it all match. And then they're tired of it within a year. So I think that's why playing around with what you already have before you buy anything is so helpful. And you've really got to live with it for a little bit. Like, move things out of your living room, pull something from your bedroom, your guest room, and your garage into your living room, right? And then just live with it just for a week and just start to see how it feels. And sit in every single one of your chairs in a space so that you know what the vantage point looks like from each of those, so you know what the view looks like from each of those vantage points, to get a sense of what feels the most comfortable. And you'll find out, oh, I really need a place to put down my coffee mug, or, oh, I really need I want to have my magazines right here so that at the end of the day, I can just lazily flip through them, but they're on a pile. They look like clutter. I'm going to go ahead and get some nice container for them, a basket or a brass urn or something,
Right.
And as you play, I think you start to learn who you are, what you love, what works, what feels good. And it does take a little time to get that idea of everything being perfectly matched together out of your mind as sort of the thing to uphold, the thing to strive for, which is what a lot of design does, because designers come in and they do your entire home in one fell swoop.
Right.
It's not collected over time. I mean, some of them, of course, will bring in some of your most prized possessions that you've maybe collected on trips or their heirlooms or whatever. But when you do it all in one go, that tends to lead people to creating a room that feels a bit staged and not lived in. So I think that's a big mistake. But honestly, my mistakes have all been, because I don't want to give the impression that I don't make mistakes, because I am the queen of making mistakes. And also, full disclosure, as a DIY person, I am not a perfectionist. So
me neither.
So really, I'm surprised to hear that. Your stuff looks like it's perfect.
You don't see that little corner that I didn't caulk, or the place I missed the paint that I need to still go back and finish. So there's a lot of that, more than you think.
Okay. Well, mine, I can guarantee, is less perfect than yours. But it's in the trying of it that is again, it's fun. It's how you learn about what you want to see. And honestly, paint colors is the easiest thing to redo. And I have made so many mistakes with paint colors, and you just have to not care.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh my goodness.
And nobody can tell you. I love these questions like, what's the perfect gray? I have no idea. I've never been to your house, and I don't know what the light is like.
Right. Like,
so
it's going to look so different if you just change the light bulb, much less live somewhere where there's different windows and like.
Totally. Yeah. So you really, unfortunately, I have to say, you have to figure that out for yourself.
Yeah, that is like the hard the hard answer is there's no easy answer. There's no magic formula, but that's
Right.
how you get a space that's genuinely you and genuinely good is you have to do the work and dive in. And so,
But I
yeah,
think someone like you gives us so much inspiration because you didn't come out of the womb knowing how to use power tools.
not one bit. Yeah.
Not one bit. So you had to learn, which means we can learn, and it's
Absolutely.
inspiring. Yeah.
Oh, that's my goal. I want to break stereotypes, like not only be the girl that's using power tools, but also be dressed like a girl, fully feminine, like not necessarily into like the workwear and the
Right.
boys
Love
club culture.
That's your style. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that so much. I feel like I'm so excited to connect everyone to your show because I think for a lot of listeners that have that work to do on defining their style, it's going to be exactly what they need. So can you let everyone know where to find you, where to find the podcast first, and then also on social as well?
Sure. So the show is called Style Matters. You can get it anywhere you get your podcast. You can get it where you're listening to Cara's fabulous podcast right now. And it's a weekly show, as is yours. And in terms of the best way to find me, just littleyellowcouch.com. You can use that for Facebook or Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram, not so much on Facebook. And I would love it if you really want to start defining your style for yourself that isn't about style categories, go to littleyellowcouch.com and click on my free guide, which is called Your Style Mashup. And it's really fun. It's like playing a game to figure out what your style is. Again, It's not using any typical style category. So it's really fun. And it's a great place to start. And thank you, Cara, so much for having me on.
Oh my gosh, thanks for coming on. This conversation was amazing. I am beyond excited to share. I know that it's going to be game-changing for so many people, so I so appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you. I am very much looking forward to having you on my show where we're going to turn the tables around.
Yes, and you get to
I'm
ask
gonna
me
drill
surprise
you.
fun questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so be ready.
Yeah, I'll try to get prepared.
Oh.
#obsessed. What I'm obsessed with this week is not a thing, it's a feeling. Getting a little sappy on you here, but I feel like it's the perfect time to reflect on what we love about our home. Whether you're going to friends and family's homes for the holiday or you're welcoming people into your space, I feel like this is such a good time to reflect on all the ways that our home is serving us. All the ways it's working, all the things that are going right in our spaces that energize us and support us. It can be so easy on the journey of DIY and home decor to always be looking at the next project, the next thing, the next swap we could make, the next paint color we could change. And while that process is so much fun and almost never ending, it's good to just take a break, look back on all you've accomplished in your space, even if it doesn't feel finished yet, and celebrate the wins, celebrate the things that are going right. So today I just want to encourage you to be obsessed with the space you already have. Find the good stuff, find those exciting moments, and celebrate them.
Time to talk trends.
Okay, trend talk for this week. We are looking ahead a little bit to holiday decor in terms of Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas and you've started putting up your decor, you may already be set and ready. But for the rest of us that are just now thinking of it, I need to shout out a holiday trend I'm seeing that I think is really, really cool. So I think the angle is kind of like a sustainable, simplified version, but it's pretty much just like greenery and lights and neutral accents. There's not a lot of the like extra over-the-top decor. It's really focused on fresh greenery and just simple white lights. So I know holiday decor is so rooted in tradition, so you might already have a whole opinion on this and you're set in your ways and you know what works for you, and that is fine. But for everyone else that's undecided, I think this trend is really cool because it kind of lets us step back and not feel like we have to be in that holiday hustle of doing all the things because it's Christmas. I think around holidays, if you're hosting in your home, there can be a lot of pressure to make things look good. If you're having friends and family over for the holiday or for a party, You can sometimes have that moment where you look around your space and you see it through someone else's eyes, like as if someone's walking in your home, what they're going to think about it. And that can create a lot of pressure to make things look good. So if you're feeling that, this trend might be your solution to keeping things simple. Find some fresh greenery or faux garlands, decorate with some lights and really simple touches that are neutral and not overpowering. It's going to save you time, it'll be less expensive, and it's just visually cleaner. I think I'm seeing this trend emerge because of the wild year and a half that we've had with the pandemic. I feel like it's forced us to prioritize what really matters, which is the people over the aesthetics. We have all these shipping delays where stuff can't arrive in time, so we're just working with what we've got. And I think overall, a lot of us are just craving that simplicity. So if this is you, hop onto Pinterest and you can type in minimalist holiday decor or greenery holiday decor, and you'll kind of get a feel for the trend I'm talking about. Explore it, see if it's right for you. And if you do choose to decorate this way this season, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram, share your photos, pop them in stories. I want to see how it's going and your twist on this. Psst. If you're still here, that means we need to be friends. Hop over to Instagram and follow me at Never Skip Brunch if you want DIY projects and more design inspo. Or if you want to get connected for podcast-specific updates, hop over to Make Space Pod and you can stay in the loop for when new episodes drop. See you on Instagram.
I'm on my way back home.
Thanks for listening. If this is your first time listening in, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay in the loop with the newest episodes. If you're a subscriber and you love the show, be sure to rate, review, or screenshot and share your favorite episode on social.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.